and the Glendale Redevelopment Agency for July 20th, 2010. May we have roll call for the council?
Council members: Draymond.
Here.
Friedman.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Mayor Najarian.
Here.
Can we have a roll call for the agency?
Agency members: Draymond.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chair Friedman.
Here.
May we have your report?
The agenda for the July 20th, 2010 joint public meeting of the Glendale City Council and the Glendale Redevelopment Agency was posted on Thursday, July 15, 2010 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. The item before you at number 1 on this agenda is Director of Community Redevelopment and Housing regarding supplement to the proposed 9th Amendment to the redevelopment plan for the Central Glendale Redevelopment Project area. At 1A is agency resolution approving and adopting the supplement to the agency report to the City Council on the proposed 9th Amendment to the amended redevelopment plan for the Central Glendale Redevelopment Project area and submitting supplement to the City Council. At 1B is council resolution accepting supplement to the agency report to the City Council on the proposed 9th Amendment to the amended redevelopment plan for the Central Glendale Redevelopment Project area.
Thank you. Mr. Lanzafame.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, Ms. Chair, members of the Redevelopment Agency. On June 15th, the Redevelopment Agency adopted a report on the 9th Amendment, which is predominantly to extend the eminent domain authority. That report, the main part of that report gives you the blight findings and describes some of the process in the amendment. Subsequent to your approval of that report and your adoption of that report, we held a community meeting on June 30th. The supplement to the report includes the information that was provided at that meeting. We sent notice to every property owner and every tenant in the central project area. We had a total of 3 people attend, 2 property owners and 1 business owner. I believe that there are questions related to, were you going to condemn my property? And the answer was no. We explained the process to them. We gave them a primer on redevelopment as well as copies of our implementation plan. The item before you is to incorporate that supplement into the report. Staff is here if you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions of staff on these items? Okay, so we have an agency resolution and a council resolution. I can entertain a council.
So moved.
Second.
If there's no further discussion, roll call, please.
Did you open the public hearing? Next item. Oh, that's next item. Okay, I'm sorry. They were both public hearings.
It was moved by Councilmember Weaver and seconded by Councilmember Quintero. Council members: Draymond.
Yes.
Friedman.
Yes.
Quintero.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes.
I moved 1A for the agency.
Second.
Okay, can we have a roll call?
Agency members: Draymond.
Yes.
Najarian.
Yes.
Quintero.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Chair Friedman.
Yes.
Go to item 2, please.
Item 2 is a public hearing. Director of Community Redevelopment and Housing regarding final approval for the proposed 9th Amendment. At 2A is agency resolution adopting the initial study negative declaration prepared for the proposed 9th Amendment to the amended redevelopment plan for the Central Glendale Redevelopment Project area. At 2B is agency resolution amending the 2010-2014 implementation plan. At 2C is council resolution adopting the initial study negative declaration prepared for the proposed 9th Amendment to the amended redevelopment plan for the Central Glendale Redevelopment Project area. And at 2D is ordinance for introduction amending ordinances numbers 4042, 4247, 475, 35076, 5211, and 5373, 5439, and approving and adopting the 9th Amendment to the amended redevelopment plan for the Central Glendale Redevelopment Project area.
Thank you. I will now open the public hearing and go to Mr. Lanzafame.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, Ms. Chair, members of the Redevelopment Agency, eminent domain is a critical tool in the redevelopment process. The law provides the authority to redevelopment agencies throughout the state of California. However, it is used very sparingly and throughout California as well as Glendale, only as a last resort. We were thinking back, I don't know that we had any cases that actually went to trial on valuation in the Americana brand, which was the most recent occurrence of the eminent domain authority. However, the law does provide that you renew that authority every 12 years. We are in the last stages of the process to amend our plan to extend eminent domain. We are also, as noted in the introduction, we're also amending our implementation plan to include some of this extension and other limitations. I should note two things. We are extending the eminent domain authority. However, in this extension, we are not requesting the authority over any residential properties or places where people reside. That is, we're carving that out of this particular amendment. The second thing is this is to extend the ability for the agency to utilize that authority. We are not before you to condemn any properties. If that were to be the case at some point in the future, there is a process prescribed by the government code that we would have to adhere to. So 2 points, we're not including any property in which people reside, and this action does not condemn any property, nor does it give the authority to condemn a specific property. As part of the amendment process, we've included an analysis of the remaining blight and blighting conditions in the central project area. We've taken various actions, which is a tab in your binder there with various city bodies, and we have notified all the affected taxing agencies, property owners, and residents of the central project area. On June 2nd, the Planning Commission considered this amendment for its consistency with the general plan, found that it was consistent, and has recommended that you adopt the ordinances that will be before you. The Council has heard presentations on the purpose and process for amending the plan, including the main evidentiary document, the report that we just recently supplemented. You approved that on the 15th, and then the supplement just today. A negative declaration has been prepared. It was submitted for public review, and that comment period closed on June 25th. And then, as I said earlier, we held a community information meeting on June 30th, where we had 3 parties attend. At this time, Mr. Mayor and Ms. Chair, I would like to note for the record, included in your packet are Exhibits 1 through 9. Exhibit 1 is an affidavit of publication of notice of this hearing. Exhibit 2, a certificate of mailing of notice to all the property owners. 3 is a certificate of mailing to all the residents and business owners. Exhibit 4 is a certificate of mailing for this public hearing to each taxing agency and entity. Exhibit 5 is a certificate of posting of notice of this hearing within our project areas. 6 is the certification of official actions that have been taken to date. Exhibit 7 is the report to the City Council. Exhibit 8 is the supplement to the report. Exhibit 9 is the actual 9th Amendment. We would like to submit those. They're in your packet, and we're submitting those for the record.
Are there any objections to receiving those Exhibits 1 through 9 into the record of this proceeding? Are there any questions regarding any of those exhibits? If there are no questions or objections, these Exhibits 1 through 9 will be made part of the record. The next question I have for you is, were there any written comments made, Mr. Lanzafame?
Mr. Mayor, we did receive a written comment yesterday, and I'll present that to the clerk to also submit the record, and that will become part of the packet. As a result of receiving that written comment, we need to respond back to you at a later date. We think we can prepare a response to that and have it back to you next week. At the appropriate time, Mr. Mayor, I would be asking that we continue the items that were slated for your vote until a week from today.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments?
And that is
That finishes
that's a required action.
That is.
So you can prepare your response to that before we
That is
adopt or
correct.
remove any of these.
And then there are
items.
certain findings that we'll ask you to make with that response.
Okay, and that's it for the written items?
That's it for the written.
Okay. And if
I've only
there's-
received that one.
Thank you. If there's, I have received one card from Kathleen Hobson wishing to make an oral comment to the council and agency. If there's anyone else who'd like to address this item, please fill out a card and come forward. And I invite Kathleen Hobson to the podium, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
Hello. You guys look all well-dressed today. You know my name, Kathleen Hobson. Oops, made these. And I received the letter from Mark Berry. I may have received some earlier, but I have had a lot on my plate, so I not have responded. My property is at the corner of California and Orange Street, and I would like to know the impact that it'll have on my property. That's number one. And number two, if you decide to do eminent domain on my property, how will I know I will get the potential value of my property, particularly if it's in this economy? And just as an addition, when Mr. Berry said it doesn't affect homeowners, that's not entirely true, as homeowners own those businesses, and it may be a means of their income. And one thing else, too, since it does concern me, I wonder if I would be able to have a written copy or a copy of the written comment that was concerning this property, this development. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. And Mr. Lanzafame, let's just be clear for anyone who's watching, what is the effect of this Ninth Amendment? And I know you mentioned it a couple times, but this lady is a property owner. Does it mean that you are going to conduct eminent domain proceedings on the property? Does it mean that this action institutes and commences any of that sort of activity?
It does not commence an eminent domain action. Actually, since 1972, the Redevelopment Agency has had the eminent domain authority. So we are merely continuing an authority that you have had for almost 35 years.
And the laws relating to eminent domain and the fair value, should eminent domain be instituted on any property, what safeguards are there that a fair price is determined?
Mr. Mayor, I'll give you an explanation and that I know from a staff perspective, and then if there's any legal addition. The government code sets out the process for us to acquire any piece of property through negotiated transaction or eminent domain. Should you want to acquire a piece of property through eminent domain, you would first need to make a fair market offer, get an appraisal, notice to appraisal, make a fair market offer, negotiate in good faith on that. Failing to come to a conclusion, you would adopt what's called a resolution of necessity. I should say you would consider a resolution of necessity. If after hearing evidence, you can make 4 findings, the 4 findings that are required by the government code, you can adopt what's called a resolution of necessity, and then the redevelopment agency would file an action. It would then put it into an unbiased forum, a court, to decide what the proper value of the property is. Our Constitution is set up so that public entities cannot take property without paying fair compensation.
So a judge would hear evidence from both sides as to the fair value of the property, and he would be the one ultimately making the determination.
Judge, or most likely a jury.
Jury? Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Lanzafame. I don't have any other comments. If there are any questions from council, if not, I will close the public hearing, but let me, council or agency, if anyone has a question. Okay, I will close the public hearing at this point, and there's not much else we can do. Do we need a formal motion to continue the items? We do. So because of this written remarks that came in, we do have to put this over for a date certain. So will that be next week?
Mr. Mayor, we think we can prepare the findings for you for next week.
That would be July 27th.
7th.
Okay.
And that would be continued without further notice
Okay.
until July 27th.
So we have a council resolution. Can they all be moved at the same time for continuation, or do we have to go to each agency or each?
Each one can do it, but you can do it by unanimous consent.
Okay, are there any objections then to items 2A, B, C, and D being continued to July 27th without any further notice? And I guess this includes both agency and council. Okay, seeing no objections, that will be the decision of the council and the agency. Is there a motion to adjourn for council?
A motion to adjourn to the agency.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Starbird, I suggest the staff not duplicate this again in the interest of saving paper.
We will not. So if you want to hang on to your copies, please do. If you don't, please give them to us, and we'll bring them back to you next week.